An important part of your study abroad application is the statement of purpose. This is where you directly address the selection committee and explain why you have chosen this particular program based upon your academic goal, highlighting that you have done your research. This statement is directly addressing a specific university or program. It is not a general study abroad statement about why you should study abroad. Instead, it's about why you should study your specific academic goal at a specific institution. Let's begin by looking at what is being asked for you in the application. You will see when you log in that there is a box. It is your choice whether you want to directly type it in here into the box or copy and paste it here. Regardless, I do recommend that you do first type it out on a Word document so that it can do spell check. Typing it into this box directly, there is no spell check, and you may find you have more errors that way. The application does ask for only 500 words. It's not a problem if you write 400 words or 700 words, or it could be 2 to 3 paragraphs. It's much more important that you directly answer the questions and that you don't write them a 20-page essay. Looking at the first question, this is really the most important of all of the questions. Therefore, I recommend addressing it in the very first paragraph. The first question asks you, what is your academic goal and why this particular program? You may have 1 or 2 academic goals. I do not recommend having more than 2. An academic goal is going abroad for your major, minor, both upper or lower division GEs, or a learned language or improve the language. Those are all academic goals. Think about what you're primarily academically going to focus on and connect it to that program. Then be able to give justification as to why this particular program will help you achieve that academic goal. You should be able to come up with 2 to 3 reasons or examples that you have found in your research. This can be things you find on the SC State Abroad database or on the partner university's website. The easiest way to directly address this is to talk about classes. You are not going to list the classes again. You've already done that in another section. Instead, I would recommend talking about 1 or 2 of the classes and then explain why you'd like to take that class. Maybe it's because it'll help you stay on track for graduation or fill a specific requirement, or it's going to help you with building professional skills from classes that we don't teach at San Francisco State. If you have spoken to your academic advisor about any of these classes, name drop that. It's not required, but highly recommended. Part of this statement is taking credit for everything you've done. You're not comparing and contrasting to a different program. For the second paragraph, you want to expand on that preparation. We've already talked a little bit about it in paragraph 1, but that's all connected to your academic goals. There is other preparation you will be doing that's not necessarily directly tied to your academic goal, such as maybe language learning before you go abroad, or if you've done some research or taken classes about that country or region of the world, or done anything that the study abroad advisors have recommended. We always talk about the fun research, talking to study abroad alumni, international students. Did you attend any sessions, virtually or in person? Have you been involved with IEC? What have you done, and how has this helped you prepare? Things that you find on your own. Maybe you found YouTube videos and learned about the university or learned a little bit of the language. Include this. You're taking credit for all your preparation you've been doing for study abroad. The third paragraph is looking more towards the future. Part of this may have already been addressed in question number 1. For example, talking about staying on track for graduation. Again, academics is the most important thing. If you've included this in paragraph 1, you've already answered this third question. The second part of this would be thinking about not just academics, but after graduation. If you are lucky enough to know what you want to do after graduation, make the connection between what you're studying now, this particular university abroad, and professionally what you want to do. If you can connect those, the selection committee would be thrilled. If you can't, don't worry about it. Not everyone knows what they want to do after graduation. This part, I would say, is weighted the least of all of the questions. Again, the committee is most interested in academics If you spend all of your words talking about academics, the selection committee will be thrilled. Regardless, be specific. Avoid things like the word travel. We know you're going to travel, have great adventures. Save this for your travel blog. If you've done your research, don't spend more than an hour writing something up. Then have a family or friend proofread it, make sure there's nothing glaringly wrong, and then hit submit. A study abroad advisor would be happy to look it over before you submit as well if you reach out to us. Additionally, there are things about the application that may bring up questions for the selection committee. You want to directly address them. You don't want to wait and see if they notice. They will notice. It's much better if you bring this forward. So for example, if you are below any of the requirements, whether it be GPA, units, etc., directly state that and then explain what you want them to be aware of. The most common would be a GPA. Maybe you're below the GPA requirement. Spend 1 or 2 sentences explaining why are you below the requirement, what happened. Then 2 to 4 sentences explaining why you will be a successful student abroad by giving recent examples of what you've done it. So for example, if your GPA is below the requirement because you worked too many hours your freshman year, you learned from that mistake, and since then you cut back your work hours, you go to your professor's office hours when you have questions, you purchased a calendar, you carefully note all deadlines. Be precise in your examples of what you're doing. Ideally, the selection committee would like to see 2 recent semesters of strong academic success if your overall GPA not meeting the program requirements. Not all programs can be flexible, but when there is flexibility, the selection committee is looking at your 2 most recent semesters. It's highly recommended that if you are below the requirement, that you do check in with a study abroad advisor during advising hours so that we can talk further about your specific situation and the program that you are interested in applying for.